And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's a snack pack, everyone. Go grab a snack. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, John Orlando and I discuss the latest news and trends in pro wrestling as we get closer to WrestleMania. Looking forward to that. But are we? I go ahead and mention our concerns, John and I both, about the state of pro wrestling, both here and abroad, right there on the State of Pro Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts. Joe Soros here. Go ahead and check out what he's doing today with his company, Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com, and the Indie Fighting Game of the Year right now available on Steam. It is COREUPT, Corrupt, on Steam. Go get it today. It's a killer. A killer. Also, as well, want to give a big shout out to John Costa, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. He's dropped new videos there, so go ahead and check out his time during the All-Star break, where he had some fun there and created some cool videos. Also, as well, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner, like I said. But of course, there's Daniel Barry's sports highlights down below. He was at the game yesterday. Yo, go ahead and support him as well on his great channel, Empire Jeff TV, who covers the Lakers and Dodgers. Stone Hansen, Alfred Esmond, Legend 350. Those great guys. Please support them as well. Also, the Lakerholics. Jamie has a new Fiverr. I'm going to go ahead and post that for members here in a little bit. But don't forget as well, go ahead and support them at Lakerholics.com. And speaking of supporting, all those great places, all those great people, but don't forget to support us as well with a like and subscribe. Ting, ting. Click that little Joe in the corner, the one with the beady eyes. Go ahead, click it in the corner. I know he's got beady eyes normally, but even more beady eyes. That was when I think we talked about Nerlens Noel as a possible backup center. Yeah, remember that? Yeah. Dark days indeed. Yes. Go ahead and click on that face right there, Joe, on the lower right-hand corner of your screen on YouTube, where you can subscribe and you'll get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Intel Wild was at the game too, Joe. All right. Congratulations, Intel. You got to see a big win by the Lakers. And don't forget to become a member as well for just $2.99 a month. Again, the latest Fiverr will be there in a little bit. And more. We put videos up there first for you guys on some occasions. Also, as well, some articles and other things as well. Emojis, badges, and more for just $2.99 a month. All from you, from your friends right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Well, the Lakers going to have to get prepared after the emotional game yesterday with Luka and the Dallas Mavericks. They move on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Crypt tomorrow. But it's the defense that has been the talk of the town as much as Luka Doncic has been as well, because the Lakers, as has been noted on this show and others since January 14th, have had the number one NBA defense that's out there. And even with AD out of the lineup, which is he's only a part of 7 games in that span, the Lakers have still been in the top 3 in defense overall, even without AD. So, what has gone on? What has gone right? What has the team done differently since then? They were having a terrible time on the defensive end for most of the season until then, but it has all changed. The Lakers are doing so many good things. Joe and I are going to talk about it today. And the question, can they keep that defense going? Not just tomorrow against Minnesota, but beyond that as well. We'll talk about that as we set you up for tomorrow's game. But here today is a good man indeed. It is, of course, the guy behind Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. I noticed not too long ago, and I remembered at once you said that, and maybe you're just saying it because you were aggravated at the time, or like as you and I have seen over the course of the years during the regular season, not a lot of these teams all the time, stay continually focused on the defensive end. But you said at one time that defense during the season doesn't matter. And I know you're just taking a generalized context look at it, but even you have to admit, since January 14th, the Lakers have made a concerted effort. JJ Redick, I'm going to give him props and flowers like we did last night. He has made a concerted effort on that end after just pretty much most of the season not getting any results and not providing any answers on that side of the court. He has done a much better job getting this team to focus. Even guys like LeBron and Luca, not the normal, I guess at this stage of their careers, noted defenders, they are even giving effort on the defensive end. It has been a noticeable change and has helped propel the Lakers into a possibly a very high seed in the Western Conference, Joe.
What's likely happened is the team is understanding that they don't have their anchor there anymore in Anthony Davis. So the effort has been probably tripled. And before January 30th, the Lakers were the second worst transition defense in the league. That's a long time. That's almost the entire season. And then since, which was the last game Anthony Davis played, they're the second best transition defense. I'm not going to say that the defense was worse with Anthony Davis. I don't think that would make any sense, but I do believe that the lackadaisical play might have played into them thinking, well, we got somebody back there. I don't really need to put as much effort. Now, one of the first things that were highlighted greatly after the Luka trade was this defense is going to be a major problem now. And in saying that, it made sense. It makes sense when you remove a defensive player of the year candidate. Yeah, you could definitely, you got some merit there. But what the Lakers have done is they've spread out the assignments to everyone, and everyone needs to do their job. Bill Belichick coined that term, do your job. And the perimeter and the bigs, the limited bigs that we have, really it's just one, have started to really focus in on doing their job and helping out, being able to switch correctly. That's one of the things I've noticed about the defense is they have been on point in terms of when and how to switch, catching up to the open threes. They're getting there. They're getting there, and there's a distraction a little bit. And that's something I would like to think is going to continue because this isn't an old team. Maybe LeBron might have to conserve some energy when the playoffs come. But the advantage of the playoffs is you're always going to have a day off, and sometimes you'll have 2 or 3 days off. If the Lakers continue to build this chemistry and the young guys do their job on defense, there is a legitimate way for this to be interesting. I just don't know yet how I can gauge this yet. It's just too early. Have to see this team. I have to see Luka at Luka level. We're already seeing LeBron at LeBron level, and the younger guys are coming through, doing what they need to do, especially on the defensive end. But Luka's really going to be the one that's going to set this ablaze. If Luka from 2024 shows up before he got to the finals, this is going to be very interesting.
Are you seeing things, and respectfully, I say this, are you seeing things now at a different perspective than when you were shouting that, let's just say it was like 2.5 months ago, whatnot. I forget exactly which date you said that. It was like out, and like a lot of things that you say, it's out there. It's loud. It's out there. It never gets misconstrued. But are you seeing things now at a different perspective, perchance, seeing how the Lakers have propelled that defense to obviously a good record and parlayed that into a chance to get into a top 2 seed possibly in the West?
You rarely see a team play terrible defense, remove their best defender, and get better.
Mhm.
This season has tested any knowledge of basketball, at least for me. It's just one of those years where everything didn't really make sense. How does that happen? Is were the Lakers not putting in the effort? Probably, because I think they had a security blanket and they felt likely, hey, we're going to be okay if we just kind of do our job. Now the word is we can't afford to do that anymore. Imagine if they had done this the first 4 months during the year. Maybe they would have won more games. Vando wasn't available. Maybe he's made a difference to the point where they're better. Uh, DFS is, I believe, the best plus minus of the team since he's arrived.
Mhm.
I think that really helped, by the way. I don't think actually, I know. DFS, I remember when he was acquired, there was a statistic that only he had this year, and that was he was the only player in the NBA, at least from what I heard. I don't know if this is 100% true, that he had guarded everyone from 1 to 5. That helps tremendously, especially when you're doing a lot of switching. I was told that Max Christie was this phenomenal defender. Why did the defense get better with him not on the team?
Good point.
This is a discussion that keeps going back and forth on our assessments of certain players. I think more than anything, I think I was wrong on what was going on maybe behind the scenes, or maybe it was still bad. It's just Rob and Jeannie saw an opening and they pounced and they were able to make it work. And now we can't look at what happened before anymore. It's been so covered up by a trade that I still don't think will ever get topped in my lifetime. But
Mhm.
then again, what do I know, right? I still can't register it still 100%. I'm looking at these pictures of Luca, and I think what it is there's even sports people saying it still after what 3.5 weeks now. I'm
Yep.
still in that mode. I'm not all the way in like I was, but I'm still just. We really have Luka Doncic? Is this real? So it's very hard to not have an optimistic outlook. Imagine this. Imagine the players. How do the players feel? Maybe that was the fuel. Holy crap! We have Luka Doncic. We all know LeBron got that nos. I mean, Luka was his nos. So much so you're seeing LeBron doing switching and playing defense and in my view, playing some of the best basketball he's played since probably 2020. Actually, 2021 before that jackass fell on his ankle. That's an amazing thing when you really think about it too. Is this what it is? Is this how it happens? You get Luka Doncic, all of a sudden LeBron James takes the DeLorean and goes back to 2021. Imagine that. I don't think anybody expected that either.
LeBron was playing harder defense in recent games, especially on that road trip, Joe. Let's take the Philadelphia game out of it. LeBron was playing more concerted effort on defense even before the Luka trade, in my opinion. He had been uh, ravaged by a lot of us, about his defense. Remember, Darren, rightly so, had gone on record 100 times about how bad LeBron's defense and how he took defensive series off, possessions after possessions off. We would see and comment on playback when he would just let guys, okay, I'm 5 feet away from you. Go ahead and just take the shot. I'm good. And we would see that on playback time and time again. He has made a more concerted effort on defense, but you're right. To say that the Luka trade hasn't energized him even more would be saying, would be without saying, because he has energized LeBron in a way I didn't think was even possible. But he was making a more of a concerted effort, because the games to January 14th include the games without Luka. It includes the games without AD. LeBron has been a part of that as well.
LeBron sees what we see
Mhm.
more than even us. He knows. He probably sits there and says, my body feels pretty good. He had already said earlier in the year, I could play another 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it as if LeBron even 3/4 of what he's doing now, especially if you bring in some reinforcements, I could definitely see him doing that. Absolutely. Anything to get this thing to a title. That's the goal. And you look at LeBron's career, if he manages to win another title with Luka, it really starts putting him in a category that you just can't deny anymore. And this
Do you
might
think
be
he
his.
believes? You
I
think he believes he can do it
I
this year?
absolutely. I know he knows this could be something special. If he does not get injured in the next 3 seasons, I'm counting this season as well. So this
Mhm.
season and 2 more seasons, there is a very high probability that the Lakers win a championship. And that's just based off what I've seen and based off what we know about Luka Doncic. And it's looking like Jeannie and Rob got their huge catch, and they're going to now supplant this team and make sure that they're going to compete here for the next 5 to 10 years. Dr. Buss was very good at making sure the team was equipped to win once he knew they were equipped to win. And Jeannie pulled the ultimate Dr. Buss move with this trade. So we have to accept the fact that she is truly like her dad, and she may have outdid her dad, which is a great thing for us, because now we're not going to sit here and worry about Jeannie and Rob and the Lakers organization being some second-rate ownership. That was a scary time thinking that they might be that kind of ownership.
True, absolutely. But they were leading us up to that. I mean, they were not giving us any reason to think anything other than that. So, I mean, obviously, the Luka trade has quieted all that down. So we will see going forward what the Lakers can do with Luka right now and then going forward. But without a, how should I say, a certified or bona fide starting NBA level center, because Jackson Hayes has played admirably, but still, he is not what you would call a top flight NBA center at this point in time, or somebody on the perimeter outside of DFS and Vando that has really at a starting level, Joe, is going to give you that kind of defense. They've been able to parlay still a defensive effort that has been very admirable to see. I mean, we've picked on and we've gone after Austin Reeves for months and months and months, leading back to FIBA and his time there, on how bad his defense at times have been. And even this year, after the D'Lo trade, it seemed everything seemingly went off of a deep curve, because he was concentrating solely on being the Lakers' de facto point guard. So I couldn't blame him for that effort. But we've seen in recent days, he has bought into JJ's plan on the defensive end. Luka has come in and provided steals, block shots, things of that nature, and he is buying in to what JJ is doing. It's interesting to see that even the personnel that still is needed to make this team even better, even without that, the Lakers are still providing a high level of defense that right now has them winning the majority of their games.
LeBron may reinvent himself with Luka at the helm. He's never played with anyone close to Luka's skill set. That's counting Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is not necessarily a creator. Neither is Dwayne Wade. They're, in my view, quintessential shooting guards. Luka is a dissector. Luka is going to put a lot of pressure on defenses in several ways, whether it's the fear of him shooting at any part of on any part of that floor, the fear of getting to the basket, the fact that I think people don't realize how big he is. I think the joke that he's overweight and not in shape, if you look at how he plays, sometimes weight isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because he's able to manage bigger players and kind of put them in a turn cycle.
He was backing people down when they were trying to go ahead and confront it with doubles, Joe. He was posting them up.
It reminds me of a lot. It reminds me a lot of the people who don't know how the body works. So there's this thing in the fitness world, bodybuilding, whatever. People don't understand. If you want to add muscle, you want to get big. A lot of it, I know, there's a lot of hereditary advantages that some people have, some people don't. But let's just say you're an average. Your genetics are average. You have to eat. You have to grow. You can't grow unless you eat. You can't be big unless you eat. You have to eat food. It's just not going to work, especially when you're talking about basketball where you're running 82 games out of the year for 3 hours, 2.5 hours. It's very hard. You're going to have to kind of stay on top of that. So for Luka, in my assessment of his game, is his size and his body weight at the moment is perfect for what he's trying to do. If he gets down to 210, let's say he's 240 right now. If he gets down to 210, he's not going to be able to body anybody 30 pounds less. He is not Steph Curry trying to get to the basket. He's not Kyrie Irving going to the basket. Luka's main dissection is to body you up and make you think and make you worry about what he's going to do. And he needs that size to do it. Even if you have to sacrifice 10 years to get 7 good years because of that size, that extra 30 pounds, so be it. His best attribute is those things. And imagine now you have LeBron James, who's been playing in the NBA for 22 years. He truly can be a striker now. He truly can be a striker. He truly can sit down and not worry about being the guy that has to control the game. Luka can do that when he sits, and there's been some positives there. A lot of the times he's sat, the lead goes up. When do you see that? When have you seen that? Maybe in 2020 a little bit when you had Rondo. You could say Rondo maybe was that guy that allowed LeBron to be more of a striker. And look how well that year turned out. Except Luka's better than Rondo. Luka's better than Rondo has ever been. And Rondo was pretty damn good. So imagine that. A lot of benefits here. The Lakers are going to be able to, especially this summer, if they can have a good year this year, win it all, or at least compete and give us a glimpse of what they can be. You go into the offseason and you supply what is needed to make all the other parts work. And then you have a summer, you have a training camp to really put this thing in its highest capability. And then at that point, pray for no one to get injured. And I think the Lakers could be one of the favorites next year to win a title. And LeBron is going to benefit because he won't have to. The labor intensiveness will lessen. It's already lessened with Luka there.
One thing I do want to add in, Nick T's in the super chat, he said after JJ yelled at LBJ during the Sixers game, he flipped the switch. LBJ was playing way better before the Luka trade. For goodness sake, we were on a 5-game winning streak. And that's what I did note, Nick T, is that the Lakers were playing that January 14th stat does include the time the Lakers were on the road. As I indicated, the Lakers were playing better defense, more concerted effort on defense. I note the MSG game, the night of the Lakers trade. That was a great effort by the team, including LeBron on that defensive end. So, yes, absolutely. JY's asking about strategy against Reed tomorrow night. He was a problem with AD because he liked to draw AD out and stretch the floor out with threes. What's the strategy against him? The only thing, Joe, and this has irritated you during the course of our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, live scoreboard and chats, is the allowance of threes by the Lakers. And they have a tendency not to contest on a lot of threes. Do you see that changing a little bit tomorrow against a player like Reed, who at the 4 or the 5, depending on where they have him, could go out and try to stretch the floor out continuously, as he's known to do, Joe?
Well, the defensive strategy has changed. It's no longer AD following Nas Reed to make sure he doesn't get an open shot. Now you have a total team effort in terms of switching depending on where the positioning is on the court. So if there's a shade on one side and Nas is on that side, the nearest defender is going to go to Nas now. That's what they've been doing really, really well. And Minnesota is not necessarily a good defensive team, even though they have the defensive player of the year. Go ahead and JJ, go ahead and concoct a possession or two where you have Luka on Gobert again. Put him in the blender.
Well, they will be
blender.
Well, they'll be coming very confident, Joe, because they just beat Oklahoma
That's
City.
Good. No. They have a reason to. You have Anthony Edwards.
Came back from what? Was it a 24
22?
Point?
Yes. No, yeah. Absolutely. However, a focused Laker team and a continued improvement on Luka's game, and LeBron being what he has been here for 3 weeks, I'm going to give the edge to the Lakers, especially at home. And that's just based off what I've seen. You're not going to see Gobert shooting threes, so that's a good thing. If you want to put Nas in there, sure. Is Nas a better defender than Gobert at the basket? No. So now when Nas is in there, make him work. Make him work. I try to treat him a little better than anybody else, so maybe he'll take less money and come to LA in the summer.
Well, you mentioned
that's not going to happen, by the way. He's going to want too much money. I
think again, Nas Reed. The only thing with Nas Reed, he's just, you can't rely on him at the 5. I think it's just because he's 6'9", that size with Nas Reed. I think he's so great as a 4 or 5 hybrid, and it works so well for him. You still need a big alongside of him. Personally, that's just my opinion. But because 6'9", if you ask him to be the 5. That, for sustainable period of time, I think just you'll get the same problems or same concerns for him like AD. Although AD, ultimately, the stats say he's better at the 5.
Well, his stats are better at the 5 in crunch moments.
Mm-hmm.
But the longevity of AD's 48-minute life wasn't. there was a sense of wearing out there. And that was what was so great about having AD in 2020 and 2021 when he had some other guys there to, you could even say, look at how Powell played in those last 2 years when they were winning championships in 09 and 10. You started out with Andrew Bynum. Bynum, I don't think people realize how big Bynum was. Bynum was a huge human being.
280?
He was a legitimate 7-footer, and he was long. If his knees weren't made of cottage cheese, he would have had possibly a multiple all-star career. He was that good. It sets the tone. It set the tone, and then you'd finish with LO at the 4 and Gasol at the 5. And Gasol didn't have to play and bang at the 5 for 48 minutes. It was half the game, and he was fresh at the end of the games. Same thing with AD. You started out with JaVale McGee, or you started out with Dwight Howard, depending on the matchups. And then AD would finish it off in the end. Until I saw Game 6 in 2020. They just started with AD in that one, and they're like, cut these guys' throats. Frank Vogel put in Alex Caruso at the 2. He started him instead of KCP, which was still probably one of my favorite adjustments of all time. I just can't ever forget about Game 6. Game 6, first half, the whole game was just the perfect storm of adjustments and execution that has vividly been scarred into my brain at how beautiful it was. It reminded me a lot of what San Antonio did in 2014. It was so well coached, so well adjusted, and so well executed. It made basketball. That's the stuff that makes basketball fun, when you master that. When you master something in terms of scheme and execution, and you're playing against the highest of highest, and you destroy them, that is very, very fun to watch, and it's even more fun when it's your team doing it.
One of the things I want to mention, and once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It's a snack pack. Hopefully you're enjoying it with us. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to become a member today for just $2.99 a month, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Wanted to mention, and it is, Nick T and 805, they do have a valid point. Although, again, I am fully on the Luka train, I must admit, but I am trying to keep it objective. He is... We want him to be more efficient, Joe. Of course we do. But, if you followed his career in Dallas, efficiency always wasn't his game. He had a lot of games that looked like yesterday where, again, rebounding, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. He was finding people, getting steals, absolutely fantastic. But his efficiency from, long distance and shooting wise, wasn't particularly impressive. He has quite a few of 0 for 7, 1 for 7, 2 for 8, those type of games. Those are just par. You just have to deal with that with Luka. He will have games where he lights it up from the outside, and just games where he's just going to chuck up a lot of shots. It's just that simple. He is a volume shooter. He shoots normally about 35, 36% for his career. It just comes with the territory. I get it. I understand. It's still going to aggravate a lot of people, but you have to see beyond that in order to see just how effective the idea of Luka Doncic is for the Lakers and their future, Joe. Efficiency, I understand, would be great, and I'm hoping he becomes more efficient as he gets older and better, like we've seen from LeBron, which we have seen from LeBron. So I'm hoping he picks up that aspect of his game as well.
I don't know what that means, being efficient.
More efficient.
What is that going to do?
Make more baskets.
Who in the last 25 years has been out of this world efficient in the NBA?
Okay.
Think about some of the players in the last 25 years. those who have won championships. Kobe wasn't efficient. He's won 1/5 of the NBA championships in that time. Chris Paul was efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many does he have? 0. Who else? Who else is efficient? I don't know what this efficiency means in the end. All I care about is, are you a winner? Do you win the games? And when you look at Luka's career, he wins games. And he's a scary player. People are scared of Luka Doncic. When you are feared in this game, you are a rare breed. You are in the category of the Shaqs, the Kobes, the Jordans, the Reggie Millers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are scary players. LeBron James is a scary player. Although
MJ he's efficient. That's a good point, Howard Hill.
Well, MJ was efficient, yes. But that was a different game. That's why I only talked about recent basketball. It's very hard to judge basketball before 2002 when the zone was implemented. It's difficult to compare when there's no handshaking now versus there is handshaking. Those things, those two rule changes really change how you attack your game. It's just different. Playing a zone. So just to give you an example, there was a time when you saw guys like Shaq, you saw guys like Patrick Ewing, you saw guys like Hakeem Olajuwon. He was Akeem Olajuwon before he became Hakeem. When you saw them play in college, they almost looked like they were being held back. In some ways they were, because college coaches like Dean Smith always preached fundamentals and team above individual performances. But when those guys came into the league, it almost looked like they played better as pros than they did in college. Well, the reason why is imagine not being able to take a second guy and drop him on Shaq, Ewing, Mourning, Dikembe, Hakeem Olajuwon, because you can't. It's illegal. You can't drop two guys on one player before he gets the ball. Imagine the advantage that player has when they know they can't be guarded by two guys. A second guy can't shade over there, otherwise it'll be illegal. They're going to have more of an advantage to get a step ahead of you, get the ball in the paint before the second guy comes. If you get them deep in the post enough in time, it's too late. So now fast forward to after 2002. Now you can drop that second guy. And I have explained that more so than the Kobe, Shaq, or age thing, the zone being allowed in the NBA after the 2002 season was actually the first step in eliminating at least a couple of years of Shaq's prime off him. I still believe that had they not put in that zone, I actually feel that the Lakers would have won the championship in 2003, in 2003. The Spurs were so good. They used to do a 1-1-4 without getting caught. And Phil Jackson used to hint at it. And we used to talk about it on another forum that I was on back in the day. So imagine you had the Spurs who were able to run a pseudo zone without getting caught. A year later, when they were able to do it, they end up beating the Lakers in the playoffs. There's the game 5 in 2000. Phil did his Zen Master thing with the media, talked about how the Kings were running a zone and not getting called for it. The second they started calling Chris Webber or whomever was shading to Shaq in game 5 in LA, they got called on, I think it was 2 illegal defenses. As soon as they got called on that, it was a blowout after that. So Efficiency. It's an interesting word.
And how you gauge it, because like Nick T was saying, well, Kobe never had too many 1-for-7 lines, and I'm like, well, he was only 33% from three in his career. So just by the sheer amount of stats over the course of his career, he probably had one or two or more of those games every now and then. Although they just didn't take as many threes at that period of time, in the game. Michael Jordan, if you looked at his stats, he was, what did I say, 34% for him. I'd have to go ahead and look up for that. But yeah, if you just look at those stats, Joe, like for those players like that, Jordan, 33% from three, under 50%, just a tick under 50% for his career overall. I mean, I don't know what you're gauging efficiency as. I mean, Jordan to me is still the greatest of all time. He basically was given, as far as his usage rate of what he was done and what he was tasked, what he's asked with to do. He elevated the game in so many different ways. Whether you say it's efficiently how he utilized his abilities on the court, I'll let other people argue that, or Kobe, or any of these guys. For me, it's what elevates these superstars. Does the sheer numbers and the stats don't tell you the entire story, in my opinion, Joe. It just seemingly does not tell you the entire thing. Luka, yes, was 1-for-7 yesterday from three. I get it. I understand that. He only scored 19 points, but his impact on the court, Joe, really, really propelled this team, especially in that first quarter, Joe. He got this team off to a good start, and he made key plays throughout the rest of the game that star players make, even when they're not shooting at an efficient rate, Joe.
Nikola Jokic is the most efficient player in the NBA right now, followed by Giannis, Shai Gilgeous, Sabonis, and Anthony Davis is at 5. It's not a bad group. It's 1, 2, 3. Top 5, you have 3 guys that have won championships. So that's good. But I think guys like Luka, guys like Kobe, who weren't known as efficient players, have a different value that you really can't, I think, in my book, measure. And I don't know if they necessarily have a statistic for it. Luka is a chess player that's ahead of you by 2 moves almost every play. And he knows angles. He knows what your tendencies are by just being in the play. I don't know if he sits and watches film all day or all week, but on the court, he knows what you're going to do. So I don't know what this efficiency thing is in the long run. If Michael Jordan is the most efficient NBA player that ever lived, it makes sense on why he's the greatest of all time, because not only was he efficient, he was also everything that Kobe and Luka are on top of it too.
And Nick T is also saying, but Gerald, what Luka excuses for not being efficient? He doesn't play defense. Really? I mean, I know that that's part of his MO in the past. I understand it. But since he's been here, he's made more of a concerted effort on defense. Remember, he has blocked a couple shots, including Max Christie, if you remember. He's got several steals. He got 4 against Denver. He has played somewhat effective defense for this team. Those numbers, when they're providing low numbers against teams like Denver and Dallas, he is part of that equation. The only one that you could say has really done still a bad and subpar job on the defensive end is, unfortunately, Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect, when he's been put in there, you saw what he did yesterday. He gave up those threes and immediately he was yanked. Unfortunately, there's still an issue there, but Luka in his time has played enough defense to help this team win games. So Everybody that's still trying to nitpick, everybody who's still not on the Luka train wagon, and I understand, I respect that. That's fine. You can still continue to go ahead and be a Luka hater if you want. He is here. He is here for the long run. He does have his things, just like every little player that's going to irritate you. But the thing is, are the Lakers winning? Are the Lakers in a championship hunt? The answer is yes, and he is a great part of what they're doing, Joe.
It's going to be hard for me to take you seriously if you don't like this trade. I don't. And minus an injury, this is the trade you make. You make this trade 11 out of 10 times without even blinking. I don't know what was the alternative. Is that being discussed? Is that being asked? Ralph, I'll get to your question in a second here. I got to say this first. I really want to know what your plan was if you don't want this deal to happen. You're going to ride into the sunset with AD pulling his groin muscles every other month now? What, you think AD's not going to get injured again? Do you think you're going to get more value for him if you were to trade him? No. You would have never gotten this at any point. This was a heist that could go down as number one all time. I'm sorry. That's not true. I think number one is Red Auerbach trading for Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
But modern basketball,
or the Larry Bird
basketball, that wasn't a trade. He just picked him a year early when the rules allowed him.
I thought they got but to get that number one, didn't they make a trade?
They didn't draft him number one. They drafted him, I think, 4th or 5th in '78.
Okay, I thought they traded to get that pick so that they could get.
Yeah, modern basketball, and the reason why Bill Russell's will probably be number one, despite the eras, it's because of the results of what that created. And the weird thing is, it was the St. Louis Hawks, who are now the Atlanta Hawks, who did it, and they became their ultimate rival with Bob Pettit, the only team that beat Russell in the finals too.
He was picked 6, just to get.
Okay, yeah, that's it. 6, yeah, 6 in 1978, yeah. So other than that, the modern day trade, in my view, this is by far has the potential of being that. He still has to win championships to make it work. So I'm still in confusion at what exactly did you want to happen? Did you think that Max Christie and Anthony Davis were gonna all of a sudden turn it up and the Lakers are gonna just win a championship this year, next year? Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you're basing your concern about? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. We'll never know. But I don't care about this year and next year either, in a lot of ways. I care about the next 5 to 10 years. And what this trade did was allowed the Lakers to not have to worry about a rebuild for the next 5 to 10 years. Because with Anthony Davis on this team and LeBron James, there was that worry. This team was one scary injury away from just going into the abyss. And it happened one game, not even one game in Dallas. That injury would have happened if AD was a Laker. That was not an injury that happened because he played on a floor in Dallas that aggravated his ab. He's been having issues with that area, and it popped at the perfect moment for the Lakers. I just don't get it. I think I sort of get it. And I'm sorry that I'm going to have to say this because it's going to hurt your egos and your feelings, people. But you guys are moths to the flame of morons on TV and social media. You suck that shit up and you swallow it shit it out and eat it again. You guys got to stop listening to stupid dipshits on TV and social media and pay attention to the game. We're not living in a world where even the ex-NBA players are talking coherently. It's what it is. Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal don't watch the games, guys. Rarely. They don't watch the games like we do. They're too busy jerking each other off before they go on air so they can do their comedy show. That's it. We actually watch the games. We actually pay attention to what's going on. While the sad thing is an ex-NBA star Hall of Famer is sitting there just yapping like some asshole on the street that knows nothing about basketball. But that's what people want. That's what the dipshits that watch that show want to see. They want to see slapstick and grab ass and stuff like that, and that's what they get off on. I'm sorry, I don't get off on stuff like that. On occasion, I do enjoy some of the funny stuff. I'm not that dull, but at some point, I'd like to hear some legitimate information coming out of guys who are in the Hall of Fame that know this game, but they don't do that. Luka Doncic, barring an injury, is going to win championships in LA, and he will have a statue at the crypt before it's all said and done. And if LeBron wins one more championship, he's getting a statue as well. Unfortunately for Anthony Davis, I don't know if 2 would have done it, but for sure 3. But I think he'll get his jersey retired, but I don't think he's going to get a statue, and that's what that is.
No, I don't think a statue. I'd say jersey, yes. Statue, no.
Yeah.
But Ralph D has a question for you.
Playing pro,
Joe and Gerald, what is your perspective on European players playing pro at a young age, like Luka, compared to America, where guys have to play college? Is there an advantage? I have said before, when I used to really delve into the draft last decade, like Stone, I was really going hardcore into the draft. In fact, even in the early 2020s, I was still doing it. I noticed with certain players that were playing overseas, even in Xbox, our good friend Xbox and Sports Baby, the Australian League, and Aussie and Jeremy and all that, there were players that, depending on the level of play in certain areas around the world, were getting really a good level of basketball. Not a high level basketball like the NBA, but still at a good enough level where they were coming in certain occasions more ready than their college namesakes. Because some of those college namesakes, or most of those college namesakes that would be picked at the higher end of the draft here in recent years, were either freshmen or sophomores. And how many of them really got an extended taste of college basketball at a high level compared to some of these guys playing for pro teams in Europe for 2-3 years. So I would probably say, especially in the case of Luka, getting that advanced time as a teenager playing against men, I really think helped, get him off to such a great start and possibly get him to where he is now.
It might be the reason why America still does the college thing is to help the college game in America. There might be an unwritten understanding that says, hey, look, we're going to continue this one and done thing, which is stupid to me. At this point, do they really need to waste everybody's time for 6 months going to class or not going to class, playing for 4 or 5 months and then bouncing to the NBA? I think it's a waste of time. Either you can play in college or you don't. I think they should just get rid of it. However, I think there is a little bit of, okay, we'll hook you up, let you guys get at least 1 year out of this and make some money, and then
I think I don't like it. I don't like that role. It's, as an 18-year-old, you're an adult in many ways, shape or form. Legally, you should be allowed to go ahead and venture out into any vocation, whether you're ready for it or not. Again, that's up to the right people to give you the proper guidance in order to do and make the right moves. This one and done thing, hasn't always worked out. But again, I'll leave that to you guys as far as arguing one way or the other, and we'll go from there. But Lloyd Avenue said, "Chat, let me know if you agree." Now remember, this is the same Lloyd Avenue who was nowhere to be found after Luka's performance in the Denver game, mind you. As a Laker fan, we don't care about Luka's resume. We care about if he's going to get us a championship. We are giving him high praise too early. No MVP, no ring. Why the praise? He's feeling loud and proud, Joe, now that the calm over the Denver game has gone by the wayside, and he now can feel he can show himself out again. So, your thoughts on that, Joe?
Don't care.
Okay.
Do you want to continue to think that this was a bad deal? That's on you. Getting a 5-time All-NBA first-team player at 25. I don't think I need to waste my time with that, honestly. I think I already sort of wasted my time talking about it for about 5 minutes just a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if Luka Doncic does not get any major injuries in the next 5 to 10 years, the Lakers are going to win championships, and Luka is going to win a lot of them as well. History says that. His game says it. There's never been an acquisition like this in LA's history that didn't end up with championships. So why would I start believing it's not? We believed a few things this summer that ended up being wrong. I'm not going to do that again. And this is one thing that's always been right. It's nothing you could have denied. It's nothing you can deny. There's really nowhere else. It's impossible to. The smear job might be a little bit more excessive versus, let's say, the Paul Gasol trade, because that's one that I can compare it to because I was around for it and I was hearing it as it was going on. It's important to understand the difference between reading something or seeing tape versus when you're in it as a spectator, as an observer live. When Pau Gasol got traded to LA, there was almost a similar shock, but there was still some negativity coming out to it. The negativity at the time was Pau Gasol was 0 for 12 in the playoffs. He was considered soft. There was some negativity there. Matter of fact, even losing the finals, Pau got destroyed that summer for being soft. The negativity train never goes away. The negativity train always shows up no matter what you do. We talked about that with Patrick Mahomes this year and last year a little bit. It started kind of last year. A giant group of people don't like to see winners win too much. They don't like to see people get rich. They don't like seeing people get too big. They don't want to see that too much from somebody. They get very jealous, and then it spreads out like a virus. They don't like people being too successful. They start to hate them after a while. Now, as far as Luka Doncic is concerned, those of you who think the world started 10 years ago, there's footage of Jordan drinking beer after games, smoking cigars in the locker room. Why is it okay for Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen to drink beer and Luka Doncic not to drink beer? What, you think these guys are out there drinking green tea? You think all of them are doing that? You know what? More than half of these schmucks are doing on their recreational time? They're smoking enough weed to freaking lift the gravitational pull of the earth. So what exactly is smoking hookah going to do? Smoking hookah is just like a cigar. You're not supposed to inhale it. It's a taste thing. So what? Now he smokes a hookah. Now his career is going to go. He's smoking hookah and drinking beer and making all first teams. Oh well, he's going to break down in 5 years. Who gives a shit? Win a couple championships and you can break down in 5 years. I thought that was a stupid article today, by the way. Really? In 5 years, he's going to break down? That's what you're worried about 5 years from now? How about win with him first and then let him break down in 5 years? I'll take 5 years of Luka Doncic smoking hookah and drinking beer, winning a couple championships. How about that? Is that a deal? Do we want him to play 10 years? Yeah, I do. I do want him to play 10 years.
I remember when Vlade Divac came here to the Lakers, and he was, given all the praise as being possibly the next great Lakers center, and everybody was tantalized and fascinated by his sheer ability, Joe, on what he could do out there on the basketball floor. And then after the game, what would he do, Joe?
He smoked camels. He didn't just smoke. He didn't just smoke. He smoked camels. Everyone's listening to me like, what the hell is camels? Guys, just go to the asphalt that just freshly got poured in your street and just smoke it. That's what camels were back in the day.
I'm sure he did it at halftime.
That was the joke. That was the joke. I didn't even know this, by the way. As a Laker fan, I didn't know. I found out from my friends. They're like, I hate Vlade Divac. I'm like, how can you hate Vlade? He's a nice guy. That guy smokes cigarettes. He's this, he's that. I'm like, what? What do you mean he smokes cigarettes? They're like, yeah, man, he's just smoking camels. He this, and that. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that.
He's a chain smoker. Let me just put it this way. If whenever he passes, Joe, if he dies something that's cigarette related, it won't surprise me in the least. I'll just say that.
It's a culture thing, folks. That region likes to smoke. Just be happy he's smoking hookah, not cigarettes. If he was smoking cigarettes, then I'd say, yeah, okay, I get it. Beer, guys, come on. Seriously, are we really talking about this? You're telling me that no one drinks in the NBA?
True, Aaron. When he's in Vegas, when he was gambling, MJ, what did he do? Smoke cigars.
I mean, let's go to Peyton Manning. I had friends of mine that had stories of Peyton Manning passed out on a toilet from drinking. And how well did Peyton Manning do in his career? Played from 1998 to 2015. I'd say that's a pretty damn good career playing football too, by the way. I don't know. I don't know what this is about. I really don't know what this smear campaign continues to be other than damage control for an ownership that fucked this up royally. And when Luka wins a championship here in the next few years, it's going to get worse. It is going to get worse.
Because there still is a segment of our audience, Joe, each and every day. Lloyd Avenue, Nick T, but there's others that are just still doubtful or still negative about everything he is doing, despite the victories that we still keep getting in the scoreboard.
I don't know. It's not something I'm going to pay attention to, really. I don't really. Doesn't matter to me. You can believe whatever you want. But I'm ready for the Luka. I'm ready for the hookah Doncic era. I'm gonna smoke. I rarely smoke hookah. Rarely smoke it, but I do smoke it if it's available.
If he wins the title, do it on the show. How about that?
I will smoke. Oh, that's a good one, G. That's a good one. Let's do that. So I will smoke hookah.
You do that.
Yeah, I will smoke hookah when they. Well, I'm going to smoke it anyways. It's just we'll do it on air. I will smoke a hookah if the Lakers win a championship on air.
I don't smoke personally.
When they do.
For me, it's a personal thing because my father passed away from a smoking-related COPD. So just it's a me thing. But if you decide out there you want to smoke, it's an adult thing. You want to do it, That's on you. You know, in today's environment, you guys are pretty up to date, and you know when something is going to be bad for you or not. It's not like in the 50s where they didn't have the warning labels right there on the side of the cigarette box. They didn't know what they were going through. Now everybody knows what certain things can do to you. So if you decide to do it, you're a grown adult. I respect your decision. JY's like eat black. Well, we
I'm
didn't eat
gonna
the.
have to. I promised the Laker ball crew that I would eat
Oh,
the damn olives.
oh, because of the Luca trade itself. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay, we'll
kept
do it.
hounding me.
You got a couple.
I'm waiting for them to tell me how many olives. I gotta go back and ask them. I'm not eating a jar. I just give me a number, and then I told them give me a number and I'll do it. See, that's the thing. You I don't understand where this. I just don't get it. Even if Luca does not last, this was still the right trade to make. Either way, it's still it's still the trade you make, no matter what. You know what, Juan? I don't know. I smoke usually when people have it already. Strawberry, cherry. I don't know what the hell they have. I smoke hookah even less than when I smoke cigars. Cigars, if I had to average out throughout the year how many cigars I smoke, maybe six a year. Special occasions, probably every couple months. There's a few times where I'll smoke one once a month if I have friends over and we're drinking and smoking cigars at the pool or whatever, or at in the spa. But I'm not particularly really into smoking. It's usually just a celebratory social thing. I don't smoke cigarettes. Never smoked cigarettes in my life. I smoke weed like 3 times in my life. I drink, and I rarely drink though. It's always a social thing. I don't drink beer at home really. It's always with somebody is over, and I'm like, hey, let's have a beer or let's have a drink. Once in a great while, I'll have a beer watching a ball game, but it's just very rare. That's 6, not 60, Ralph.
Not even for the hot tub, Ralph. Although he has done that on the show before as well.
That was fun. I got sick. I got sick the next day too.
Oh, but I thought Joe never gets sick.
Yeah, I got something. I don't know if it was coincidence or maybe just being out in the cold, but maybe it was a combination of having a cigar in the cold in the spa at night with no shirt on. Yeah, that usually will do it.
Look for that one in the archives, everyone.
Yeah, the day I have a drink with Luca will likely need to be the day when I'm a celebrity. Maybe down the road.
Yeah, it was a short, quick chant, JY, but yes, there was a thank you. I sent it to the guys on our WhatsApp chat. It was on Twitter. They did catch it, the thank you, Nico chants. And again, for some, it has to be, they'll see it when they believe it. I myself had to be the see it to believe it with Rajon Rondo becoming a key player of the Lakers championship run in 2020. As I famously tell the story, and I was on the air in the early days of the Lakers fast break. I was, as I joked to Jamie and Laker Tom at that time, I was the last one on the Rondo trade, but I was the last one on the Rondo train just before he did go off in the playoffs and ultimately help the team win that championship. So I can understand some people being apprehensive about this because I also have a love and appreciation what AD did. But we know what life was like 2 months ago, that this team was just not going to win in any kind of makeup that they were going to make around LeBron and AD. There was that window had closed. There was just no tinkering around by Rob Pelinka that was going to make it happen because there was just not the right pieces that was going to make this team work. But with Luka and the way he accentuates and helps accentuate what AR and LeBron is doing. And let's not leave AR out of this. Defensive side, he has been giving great effort on that end. But more importantly, he is giving the Lakers a third playmaker and proving Joe and I wrong about being a sixth man on this team. We keep, even when we got Luca, we were like, oh, we'll still, still we think that AR should be a sixth man on this team. No, Joe, he is defying all the odds. He is defying what we have said, and he is playing at a level that you have to keep him out on the floor, and you have to find other ways to go ahead and get defensive players around that unit because he is making himself a viable third number 3 guy for the Lakers right now.
If I was GM, while we were observing what is going to be available feasibly and realistically, that's going to be that's going to be the first step. Which player do you believe is going to be the best asset for this team? Who can you trust late in games and big series? You could trust JaVale McGee. You could trust KCP. You could trust Alex Caruso. You could trust Kyle Kuzma. Those guys showed that you could trust those guys in those moments. Even if they were deficient in certain things, they made up for it in other areas. So it's not just going to be, go find a defensive center and all your problems are saved. What if he's a good defensive center, but is a huge liability on the offensive side and ends up clogging the lane for LeBron and Luka? Then it's a problem. So it's unknown yet until we know 100% what's available. We can make our assessments based off our knowledge and what we know. But more importantly is we're going to want to make sure that if we were in charge, I'm speaking in those terms, you want to make sure that LeBron and Luka are on board so that you can know, guys, it's similar to a race car driver. A race car driver is going to talk to his mechanics, his ownership, and say, look, I like the car to go this way. I like the car to have this. And their job is to tailor that car to that driver. Well, this offseason, you're going to definitely need to tailor whatever acquisition you bring on to Mr. Luka Doncic and a new striker in LeBron James.
It's a good question by Natalia. Would you rather have Nickeil Alexander-Walker or a high-end defender, like a Lou Dort, or just throw a name out there, as far as a high-end defender, maybe question. Not as good offensively, but still a high-level defender over someone like Reeves?
Honestly, if I had to make put an easy answer to this, I really think the Lakers need someone like Kessler. I think that would be the ideal player. He's not going to knock your socks off on defense, but he's going to do just enough, and he's good on offense. And he's a guy that's bright enough, that's on the come up, that's young, that's going to help you develop with these guys. This is, other than LeBron James, guys, this is a very young team. That's the beautiful thing about this. Everyone on this team, other than LeBron James, is very young. Well, Markieff Morris, but he doesn't play. It's just that should excite everyone. This is a young team, guys. Young teams don't play like this. On top of that, so young, big, that can coherently understand angles, how to get to the basket, how to do pick and roll, how to finish the dunk. And then if you're serviceable on defense, that's it, guys. That's all you really need.
If you
can add some depth, what was that?
I don't know if they're going to give him up because, like today,
not at all. No. I'm
25 and 14 for him today.
Yeah, no. The Lakers are not going to get Kessler or Nas, any of these guys. These guys are going to demand.
They might have to take a risk on someone like Mitchell Robinson, who will be in the last year of his contract at $12 million, which is right around what's his name, the guy they traded for with Luca, the roster. Gosh,
Wait, what was the question?
I'm thinking like Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson will be he'll be $12 million next year on next year contract. Let's say you might have to take a gamble on him, even though he's or someone like that in that range. Take a gamble on a player like that.
I'll tell you what. Here's the easiest way to do this. You want someone like Jackson Hayes, but better. That's the ideal. You can say, go get somebody like Lively, go get somebody like Gafford for Luka.
I mean, you could use Maxi Kleber's contract to do it. That's who I was thinking of. But
yeah.
But Mitchell Robinson again,
I believe the Lakers. I believe the Lakers. Yeah, I believe the Lakers will trade for that big. They will have enough assets to do it. There's a lot. You're having almost $59 million in expiring contracts that's going to be available to you to use as leverage.
That's a good question on Gafford. Let me look at his contract. The only reason why I say Robinson, I know a lot of you guys are going to poo-poo on it because it's health, and I would not tell you differently because of that, is the fact that he'll be in his final season, guys, before he's a UFA. And magically, a lot of these players seemingly are the healthiest right before they get paid again. Just seemingly works out that way for some reason. I'll just leave it at that. But let me look at Daniel Gafford's contract for you, Natalia. So let's see if that. I know I looked at it before, but so let's just see if how that looks. 42 overall. Yeah, he's got one more year. He's not he's an unrestricted free agent in 2026, Natalia. He does have a 14 next year. This kind of, I don't think they'll be doing a trade. You think Nico would do another trade so soon with the Lakers, Joe?
No, never again. Never.
They would. I would fear for his safety. Well, I fear for his safety now, Natalia, but I really don't think
he's the fall guy. It's not him. I refuse to believe it's him. This was an ownership call. This was an OG call. One of my favorite lines in South Central, old gangster movie from early 90s.
But I think they're going to have to, if they go for someone like that, they're going to have to go for someone in that $10 to $15 million range. I think that does have some questions about them. I didn't say necessarily Robinson, but someone in that range, like a Robert Williams. You have to gamble on his knees or something like that. I don't think they'll have enough money, even if LeBron takes a pay cut, does the 1-on-1 and takes a pay cut. I'm not sure if they'll have enough money for Naz Reid. And again, even if you get Naz Reid, Joe, I think you do still need another big to play alongside him because he's 6'9". And really, if you ask him to play a majority of the center, I think that's a tough ask for him to play center exclusively for this Lakers team.
I don't. If you can get Naz Reid, you get him. It doesn't matter.
He's going to probably ask for 30.
More than likely,
my guess.
Yeah, more than likely. It's not probably likely they'd be able to get him unless Minnesota feels like they would want a first-round pick that's down the road for them. Maybe.
Well, no, he's an unrestricted free agent.
It would be a sign and trade that they can't sign him outright. They don't have enough money.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying is they'd have
to clear up like Kleber.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's possible with these new rules. I haven't really dug in. Does that mean if they get into the second apron or the first apron, is it even possible? This new collective bargaining agreement has me completely clueless on a lot of this stuff. I don't even know. That's why I can't really give you an idea. Oh man, I wish we could figure out what they would need this summer, because all you got to do is look at the free agent list and then look at some of the rosters that would likely opt out. But even that, I don't really know what can be done or what can't be done right now. I have to really sit down and look at the rules. However, I feel very confident that they're going to get someone, and they're going to get someone of value. They have the assets this summer.
We have a second-round pick. We have our own second-round pick in the NBA draft. We traded the Clippers, which ironically at that time was like the 52nd pick, I think, and we were the 53rd pick at that time. We made the Luka trade. So we right now have a late second, extensively right now. There are some centers, if you look right now at the projections, that could be available at that time, but those guys would be, if that deep in the draft, would be projects. So the Lakers would have to buy their way into a higher pick, which they've done before. Max Christie, for instance, for starters on that. So, there's always that possibility they could move up in the draft that way. So we'll see.
We'll look into it more. We'll talk about it more probably towards the end of the year. Right now, I'm crossing my fingers that Jackson Hayes continues to improve, which he has. And he has been a huge help. Huge help. I'm scared for him in the playoffs at this point, I hope. Because he's playing for his next big contract.
Yeah.
There's some motivation there for him to be very, very, very focused, which is at the advantage of the Lakers. Even if he could muster his best season, which the first half of the year was terrible. He had a good year last year, I thought, and then I thought he'd kind of continue it coming into the year. But maybe he doesn't play well being a minimal guy. Maybe he does need a rhythm. Maybe he does need some responsibility. Since AD has been traded, he has taken on a lot of responsibility, playing 25 minutes, getting into a rhythm. Sometimes that we're unfair to these players as fans. It's not right to not expect these guys to need more time to do what they need to do. And they're not going to learn playing limited minutes. Sometimes they got to get thrown in the fire. But it's hard with the Lakers because mistakes aren't tolerated when you don't have to throw people in the fire. When you have Anthony Davis there, you don't have to throw Jackson Hayes into the fire. If he's in the fire and he's burning, you're just like, get him the hell out of there. Now, you can't really say that now. You don't have enough players to cover for him. So now you have to kind of deal with it. And then in that case, you have a guy who's come through. Hey, look, if you just let me wet my beak, I can continue to improve.
At that period of time where the Lakers drafted, the only big men were available at that time were Yves Missy, who now plays for New Orleans, and Kyle Filipowski, who had the drama with the girlfriend issue at that time. So I'm not sure if they wanted that kind of baggage at that time. But Filipowski has played well of late. So has Missy. And also as well, just to note, Joe, guess who started for the New York Knicks at center today? The answer is not Karl Anthony Towns. It is Ariel Hukporti, who was drafted after Bronny James.
How did he do?
8 and 5. He only played a sparing amount of minutes, so he was only in there just a few minutes. But just saying, 6'11". So, yeah.
Let's look at what he did.
Yeah, I think it was 8 points, 2 rebounds. He only played a few minutes, so, but still, yeah. They obviously thought enough of him to start him.
Well, 4 or 5 from the field is not bad. I didn't watch him play, so I don't know the context of his night, but looks like he's serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
But
as Empire Jeff says, and Empire Jeff reiterated, Joe, Bronny sold 500,000 jerseys.
I'd rather have a center that can shoot 4 or 5 in 20 minutes.
Tell that to Jeff.
I already talked to Jeff. He was walking the dog.
But Natalia, yeah, Misi, it's not as definitive as with him as with Khalil Ware on his future, but Misi has had his moments. He's got a lot of playing time in New Orleans with their season that's gone in the toilet. So he'll get plenty of more minutes, Natalia. So at least you will know by the end of the season if there is something there with Yves Missy. I agree with you on that, Natalia. Definitely. Khalil Ware already looks like someone that might help Miami long term because he does have all those things people like: size, rim protection ability, and also the ability to stretch it out to 3 as well. So Ralph D says Bronny is the reason why this trade happened. Just remember.
Mm-hmm.
He's your relative now.
Go eat canes. No more talks.
Ralph D says just kidding.
People's obsessions with Bronny James is getting to the cologne obsession level.
Well, we were watching those fan cams inside, during the timeouts during our playback, and we get access to the fan cams and whatnot. There are a few Bronny jerseys in the house, and that just blows me away that people are actually spending money on this, and it just blows me away. Absolutely does.
Yeah, but Luka jerseys are coming.
Yes, Luka jerseys are. Well, they're already there. You can already get them now.
Yeah, but
so
the real ones are coming soon. Something that looks like the one that looks like right there.
Kari says, "You mean you would make the trade 29 out of 30 times? Because obviously Nico wouldn't."
No, I would have made it 31 out of 30 times.
Okay.
Why would I not do it? Why wouldn't I do it that 1 out of 30? I guess that's the real question.
Yeah, Sports Baby, just 16 minutes. Like I said, sparing minutes. So, but still, they obviously put him, they gave Cat the night off and obviously had enough confidence in putting him in there at that starting center. So we're just saying, I said we would keep an eye on him. But the Bronny James fervor, Joe, has died down, obviously, because of what's happened with Luka Doncic. I think that's a correlation, is our anguish over the Bronny James drafting as like it's now at a much lower level because of what's happened with Luka, because we now see a pathway forward for this team, and it doesn't have to necessarily revolve around one Bronny James. So I think that's what we could take as a positive from this awesome trade for us as a fan base, us as a team, in getting Luka Doncic for our future.
Hookah, how do you know how tall I am? This is the first time I've seen you on here. Are you using another name? I know your tricks. We pay attention to everything here.
Yeah, Hookah, that's what he was measured at the combine, supposedly. Again, that's right around my height, and Joe is taller than me. So, okay. If he's that tall, I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
I'm 5'9".
Oh, Lloyd has a good question. Will Bronny back up Luka next year?
No.
He's not a point guard, first off, Lloyd.
He's not an NBA player, period. Jesus Christ.
He has a guaranteed contract for 3 years, Joe. Plus
good for him.
Plus an option. So it's going to be somewhere on this roster.
This has been a Cinderella story this year, Joe, for the Lakers. First with Bronny as a joke, then Luka getting traded. All they need is a championship to cap off the story. Yeah, actually, that would be pretty amazing.
Would that be great? And then Bronny's right there in the celebration, Joe.
I seriously don't know what I would do if they won a championship after all this. I really wouldn't know.
I think we'll have to eat something beyond the olives because we're already going to have to
No,
eat
this would
olives.
be, yeah, this would, I don't know.
You've already eaten hot wings. You've already done the one chip challenge. We're now have to eat olives. It has to be something else. No, you guys can't think of it. It has to be something that we have to go.
I ain't doing shit except celebrating. Enough of these gimmicky things. I seriously, I don't know what I would do. It'd be, it would be, maybe it'll correlate with what's going on with Corrupt at the same time, and we can have a party on a boat or something.
Mhm.
Man, it's funny. I've been getting these posts of they're catching these dudes trying to solicit, you know, underage people, and they beat them
Okay.
up in the supermarkets. This is what we've come to, folks. Sorry, I had to sway off the subject, but it's coming in droves.
You did a little bit, but let's try it. Yes, we're back in here before we head out.
I had to stop this broad talk
Before we
somehow.
head out. Okay. Before we head on out, it is, of course, Minnesota. That's tomorrow. Please go ahead and join us on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And then, of course, the post game right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So it is Minnesota, and I'm not going to underestimate them at all. Again, they're coming off a big high for them with their comeback victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder, including Edwards, a guy who you are in and out on as a future face of the NBA. The most for them the other night, they got the Edwards that they needed on both ends of the floor, Joe.
I don't really have a feeling for tomorrow's game. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost a close one or won in a blowout. I don't see them getting killed by Minnesota. I don't see that. But maybe a loss and a tight one at the very least. But I think the Lakers should win tomorrow, especially if Luka gets better each game. If Luka starts hitting the shots, it's
Kari,
going
I
to be a
think the
problem.
chances are good.
Oh yeah, LeBron's making an all NBA team for sure. At least a 3. Might be a 2 depending on how it ends.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he does have a good chance of it, especially because of some other players who, like Wembanyama, for instance, who will not make it due to injury. So he's just got to make sure he stays above that threshold on games missed, and he'll have a shot. I have a feeling he'll have a good shot at being in the top 3 All NBA teams. So yeah, there you go. Who is a better power forward? So No Joker says, who is a better power forward currently than LeBron? Well, not necessarily a power forward, because you remember it goes by. Don't they just go by the best 5, Joe? 2 guards, 3 frontline people.
Now they do, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's
I
think
don't think
about
you
that
would
for a
put.
second. You're going to get Jokic is going to go for sure.
SGA for sure.
Shea Gilgeous, Giannis probably, because he's kind of in the top 3 right now in the MVP.
Tatum,
Tatum, and then
would you go Edwards, Brunson? Cat?
I really don't know.
I mean, Curry and LeBron, who are both still having great seasons, I would put them on second All-NBA team. I don't think they've done enough, because even for them, this is not their peak. They're having great seasons for their age, but statistically compared to other seasons, they've had better seasons.
I think LeBron should be first, especially
Really?
if they get a 2 seed.
Okay. Well, if they get a 2 seed, that changes everything.
Mhm.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. That would be something. If LeBron helps lead them to a 2 seed, then yeah, that changes a lot as far as that's concerned. I could be swayed to that. I could be swayed.
I mean,
To
do you put in Trey Young? Lillard's having a good year.
No, under 500. Lillard's having a good year, but not a great year, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I don't know what I don't know who that fifth one is, but I'm pretty comfortable that it's Tatum, Shai Gilgeous, Jokic, Giannis, and then whoever the fifth guy is. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one.
Okay.
But I feel very comfortable that LeBron will at least be a 2 or 3 in this year, with a small
Triple J?
chance.
If Memphis is number 2.
I don't know about that either.
Okay. Jokic doesn't deserve it. LeBron will take it. Are you serious? Come on,
No,
hookah.
he's not
You've been
serious.
having too much hookah.
Go smoke a hookah, for God's sakes. Killing us over here.
You know, statistically, he was having one of the greatest seasons
ever. There's a better chance of Cade Cunningham getting in than that. Jesus Christ.
Okay, let me just go over the stats for Nikola Jokic. Let's just say, hookah, okay? So while you're smoking your hookah, let's just say, okay, 29 points, 10 assists, 12 rebounds. That's a triple-double, averaging. He's shooting 82 from the line, 44.5% from 3, and almost 58% from the field. These are numbers that you might not be able to do in 2K, much less real life.
I think Cat will get in. I think Cat will get in this year if he continues his play.
Man, defensively, though, he is a sieve on defense. He is killing that Knicks team defensively. That's the problem. And with LeBron now playing a more concerted effort on defense and the team having a reflective defense that is playing at a, I don't want to say optimal level, but damn near to it. The LeBron, you started to get me down that road to LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron is playing amazing the last 3 weeks.
We'll see if he can continue it through April and then where the Lakers stand. If they're number 2 seed and they continue this, I'm not going to say number 1 defense, but if they're still top 5 defensively since January 14th by April, they're top 5 defensively through then. Because they have dramatically changed. Remember, Joe, we were having conversations with the Lakers in 27th, 28th in defense overall in the NBA. That was a common theme during the course of the season in the calendar year 2024. Fast forward to 2025, and if this team continues its pace, it will be in the top 10 in the NBA in defense before the end of the season, Joe.
There's a reason why there's a defensive team and an All-NBA team. Simple answer. Is it Carey? Yeah, Carey. He's got 20 more games to play to qualify.
Anthony Edwards could be in someone that first team thought of.
He's okay this year.
Just okay?
He's good, but not seeing that next level stuff yet. I see it in spurts, very rarely though.
Like the other day.
That was a team effort.
Okay. Okay.
What was the old rule in terms of participation? Was it 60 games or was it 55?
I think it was 55. It was a rather low number, Joe.
Wow.
Because remember, the rookie of the year, some rookies of the year were like at a real low number of games played at times. So now it's at 15 games, 67, I think it's it 67,
65
or 65, sorry. So 65. So yeah.
So Giannis, there's what? How many games now? Let's see here. Right now we're looking at Milwaukee has 57 games played. So they have 25 games left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's got to play 20 of the next 25 games to qualify, Giannis.
Okay. So the last thing I want to touch on before we head on out, Joe, is something that I sent to you and the guys the other day, or yet earlier today, excuse me, from Bobby Marks on Twitter. Let me go ahead and I'll bring it up here in just a second for everybody. And that was certain deadlines I want them to become familiar with. So I'm going to pop it up here on the screen, if I may, Joe. I know you're always irritated when I do that, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways in this occasion because I give you an advance notice. So there you go. There's the playoff eligibility deadline. It's March 1st. The two-way deadline is March 4th. The waiver deadline, which is the last day to waive a player on expiring contract with a team option, is on the April 10th. The last day of the season, of course, where you can convert a two-way and sign a player is April 13th. But the key right there is what you're seeing at March 1st. So there still might be a buyout player that could still be eligible for the playoffs, but it must be done, as you see there, on March 1st by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time to be eligible for the postseason. And then the two-way deadline to sign a two-way players on the 4th. But this brings me to my question. Let's say the Lakers don't have that magical buyout player come their way. And I'm sorry, Alex Len's not going to be that player. There's been talk, and there's in talk with Johnny right there, about who the Lakers should maybe sign as far as one of these two-way players to a full contract to make them playoff eligible going forward. Jordan Goodwin has had some good spells. Trey Jamison has had some good moments as well. He's also tried to body block some people into the second row. Your thoughts, my friend, on which one of those players you could commit to go ahead, if it only works out that that's what you could do, one of those two-way players into a regular contract to make them eligible for the playoffs, because you can only do one. The Lakers, with signing Alex Len, the only thing they can do now at this stage is be able to waive a player and be able to go ahead and free up a spot for a two-way player or a buyout player to pick up one spot. They only have one move to make. And let's say a buyout player is not an option. Which two-way player would you bring up?
No idea. But I would drop Alex Len. I don't think he's got enough time, and he's shown that he's just not going to work. I take my chances with Jemison and Koloko. Okay. They've been there. They've kind of gotten the playbook a little bit more than Alex Len, and Alex Len is. When I see a 7-footer,
you can only make one, Joe. They can only make one.
I just drop Alex Len. That's my one. That was.
I know, but who would move in that spot? Koloko, Goodwin, or
Goodwin?
Jamison. Okay, so you would not keep. Okay, so you're not putting Goodwin or you're not putting Jamison or Koloko on that team.
Probably not.
Okay.
You've noticed they haven't really been playing a lot, especially Koloko.
But they could waive Morris. They could play They could waive Reddish, and they could waive Len.
I don't think they're going to waive Morris. unless they know they can get somebody of substance, because I think Morris does have he can be the I drew a blank. Who was our cheerleader in 2020?
What, J.R. Smith?
No. He's a coach now or something.
Oh, on the Dallas Mavericks.
Gerald Dudley.
Yeah, Jared Dudley. Yeah, the best 15th man ever in the NBA history, according to Laker Tom, and we had many an argument over that. I actually argued Christian Wood, and I proved him wrong on that. So, because Christian Wood, up until the time he got to the Lakers, actually had a couple years where he actually played at a high level, unlike Jared Dudley.
Yeah.
But
Jared, not Jerry.
Jared Dudley, Floyd Avenue. Oh, unless you're doing a play on Dallas words there.
He does look like a Jerry, though. Jarrett. There's only one Jarrett. The one that sabotages his team year in and year out. I'll give you a guess. I'll give you two guesses, but you're only going to need one.
Cowboys.
My Cowboys.
But so you say Goodwin. I would probably agree with you on that. Jamison, unless you really think he's going to be able to do something for you as far as give you 5 fouls and give you some strength, because he is strong. I will give you that. He is strong, and he's going to commit some hard fouls. I will say that. So if you want some hard fouls in the playoffs, Joe, Jamison is your guy. So
good.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah. No worries, Lloyd. I hope you're multiplayer. I hope you're killing it. Or on zombies. He's playing COD. Watch out for Ronnie. He could be playing against you there. But once again, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Charles Glassford. Thanks again for watching us. I think we truly appreciate you joining us. Joe's got the feels right there. You can see the total sarcasm on his face. But Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
No.
I mean, this D, I hope they can keep it on going. But I do want to make sure that people know that we are giving props to JJ and the team for, providing a defensive scheme and getting this team to play effectively on that end of the floor for a sustained period of time. And let's hope they can sustain it even more. Carrie says, what if Hayes gets hurt or something? Knock on wood. Pardon the pun.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with you. Chris Dudley was better. Yeah, now there's a guy who would give you a hard foul. Yeah, I remember. Don't ask him to shoot free throws. You guys want Nick Claxton, so watch him do free throws. Yeah, Nick Claxton looks like Steph Curry compared to Chris Dudley at the free throw line. And yeah, Nick Claxton is terrible at the free throw line. But what's the line for tomorrow, No Joker? I will look it up. I will look it up for you. That's a good question. I noticed that Danny was in the chat earlier already predicting the score of the game. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yes, we will look and see for tomorrow. The game is at 7:30. By the way, the line has the Lakers at 5.5. So yes, they didn't get it done the last game because it was 8.5 and they only won by 8. But we'll take the victories. That's what we'll take. If you guys are betting money on it, do it responsibly. And we'll leave it at that. But again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, playback.tv. So that's Lakers Fast Break. If you're looking for a VIP, you've got to get there early. I'm letting you know now. You've got to get there early. I cannot guarantee VIPs. I don't guarantee VIPs. I just give them out to whenever I can that they become available. And being first in line is always a better thing. It's always a better thing. But yes, we'll try to get them out as fair and as judiciously as I can, but I don't make promises. But I will try to do my best. But now that the crowds are getting a little bit larger than the 20 that I'm allotted, it gets hard to accommodate everyone. And I will leave it at that. But again, you can always join us. We always have a great chat, both there, YouTube, and Facebook. Truly appreciate everybody on Facebook joining us as well. And then, of course, the best post game that's out there on Twitch, on Facebook, and of course, YouTube is always right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.